GoldenEye, Dead Presidents.
I guess Demon Knight came out in 1995.
Demon Knight's a 95 movie. You guys have talked about that.
Mm-hmm. In the Mouth of Madness.
That's a good movie. That's one of the few like good John Carpenter's 90s movies.
Billy Madison. The Quick and the Dead.
Quick and the Dead, you guys have talked about.
Outbreak, 95.
Outbreak, yeah.
Friday,
yes.
Village of the Damned.
Oh, so Carpenter had both In the Mouth of Madness and Village of the Damned in 95?
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Die Hard with a Vengeance. Crimson Tide, as we said. Apollo 13, Braveheart, those are all the same summer.
Yep. Tales from the Hood.
You guys are talking about Tales from the Hood?
The Casper, the live action. Johnny Mnemonic.
That's one of the movies. Like 95 was pretty famous for having a lot of kind of cyberpunk movies.
Yeah.
And this among them, Johnny Mnemonic, Hackers, Virtuosity. Those are all out in 1995.
No way, really?
Uh-huh. I think Virtuosity is where I first saw the Strange Days teaser, which I hope that you played at the beginning of this episode, because that teaser is one of my all-time favorites.
Batman Forever.
Batman Forever is kind of goofy. It was a huge hit, but it's not great.
That's the one with Val, right?
Yeah.
Clueless.
Great movie.
Free Willy 2. Kids. Have you seen Kids?
Don't like kids.
Oh, yeah, you don't like, what's his name, right?
Yeah, that guy's... His second movie is really good, and that's all I'll give him.
What's the second one?
Another Day in Paradise, James Woods and Melanie Griffith. They're like junkies.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's a good movie. Check it out. Eddie Bunker wrote it. You know Eddie Bunker?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Blue and Reservoir Dogs? He wrote it. Wrote the novel that it's based on. Good movie. But yeah, Larry Clark is a fucking creep and a weirdo. And I don't like kids. At all.
Desperado.
Yes, Desperado. Late summer.
Clockers?
Yes, Clockers.
Do you like Angus? Have you seen Angus?
Never seen Angus.
Empire Records?
Empire Records. Empire Records isn't a great movie, but it's pretty rewatchable.
That's from 95?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't remember it being released in theaters, though. I think that was almost a straight-to-video movie.
Okay.
Or it got dumped.
7?
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite, Showgirl.
I think 7 and Showgirls came out on the same day.
I can't believe that's Paul Verhoeven. Devil in the Blue Dress.
Devil in Blue Dress is great. That's a super underrated Denzel Washington movie. Sizemore's in that, too. Sizemore's in a lot of movies this year.
To Die For.
Great movie. By the way, go watch Get Shorty if anyone hasn't seen it. We did a show on it last year. Love that movie.
Did you ever see Copycat?
Yes, I've seen Copycat. Pretty decent. Sigourney Weaver's good in it.
Wow.
As is Holly Hunter.
That's 95? I can remember. I remember renting that. Oh, Waiting to Exhale.
Good movie. Angela Bassett's great in that movie, too.
4 Rooms.
4 Rooms.
Dead Man Walking.
Good movie.
95.
Yeah.
I think I hit all the highlights, at least.
That's a solid list. So, strong year for film, and a strong year for a lot of movies I think are very, very good and are a little underrated. This one especially is underrated. So, I'd have to mention that. That always feels obligatory whenever we cover a 1995 movie. Especially when you got me on the show. Because that's one of my favorite years in film.
I can see why now looking at it.
And that was a good fall. There were so many great films out in that fall. So it's such a bummer to know that Strange Days just did not connect at all. So I'm really stoked that you liked it.
Yeah. No, I completely want to add this to my collection. You know me, I'm a big fan of Bigelow, and I don't know. Like I said, it was just getting around to checking it out, and yeah, this is definitely like top tier, I think, for her. You know.
Well, she has more great movies than she does bad movies, but she does have her share of bad movies. Not just ones that did not do well, but just movies. There's like 2 or 3 of those movies I just don't care for.
Especially like her follow-up to Strange Days.
Oh, The Way the Water?
Yeah.
It's bad. It's a bad movie. I forced myself to watch it when Blank Check covered her a few years ago.
Uh-huh.
Because it was, I try to watch all the movies as they go through them, and that was a movie that I remember, like, just being there and gone. But her follow-up, she comes off of a massive hit with Point Break, which is in 1991.
Which pretty much makes Keanu Reeves like a star overnight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because he's in like a lot of comedies and stuff
or action star, I should say.
An action star, yeah.
Yes.
He's in a lot of comedies up until that point. You know, Bill and Ted, obviously. I think he does Parenthood. He's in Parenthood like just before Point Break. And yeah, becomes an action star, and Point Break is awesome. And the action scenes in that are incredible. And I remember telling a couple people years and years ago, like, you know, in my teens, like, hey, if you don't like Point Break because, you know, Patrick Swayze's in it, because they always thought he was, Patrick Swayze's like the Dirty Dancing guy, whatever. I was like, just watch the movie with the sound off, because the action scenes in it are incredible. If you are going to be like that much of a stickler about it, like, just watch it with the sound off, because the action scenes fucking rule.
I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, Patrick Swayze, like, he's
great in it,
and he's gritty.
Yeah,
like, he's not like, you know, he's not even like the Roadhouse Swayze. He's completely different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and it works.
But I mean, obviously that whole Steadicam shot where Reeves is chasing Swayze in the Reagan mask, like, you know, post bank robbery.
Yeah,
after he's caught them in the act. Like, that whole sequence is incredible. You know, obviously the skydiving sequences are amazing. Bigelow herself is jumping out of the plane, shooting a lot of that stuff.
Nuts.
So, she's a great action director, and that's a huge, huge hit. Let me refer to the notes here, and I'll tell you exactly how much that movie made. Point Break made $83 million off of a $24 million budget.
Holy shit.
So, you know, a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
For her, so that gives her kind of the chance to make Strange Days, again, with Fox.
Especially, the Point Break was 91, right?
91.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have it in my notes. She was married. They were married 1989 to 1991. So at some point in this year, they break up, her and Jim Cameron, because I don't know if we've talked about that before. They're married at one point, only for a couple of years. He helps her produce, and I think even does some rewrite work on Point Break. And both Terminator 2 and Point Break are out that same summer, up against each other. And then, while they're married, you know, Bigelow finds out about Strange Days. You know, they talk it up and kind of work it out together. And as you said in your intro, like, James Cameron has like a 90-page treatment or so that he turns in, and then Jay Cox is the one that kind of turned it into a script. Jay Cox, who does a lot of work with Scorsese and not much else. I think this is one of his very few, if not his only movie that he doesn't work on with Scorsese. Because he writes The Age of Innocence, he writes Gangs of New York, and he writes Silence was the other one. I'm trying to think of it. He writes all those for Scorsese, and I think this might be his only other credit.
I think, was it Cameron, he went in and just, like, I guess, like, worked out some of the dialogue after Cox did the script?
Yeah, because he does have a story by, and then he's co-writer on the screenplay, so he has the treatment, he turns it in, Jay Cox turns it into a script, and then Cameron does some polish work on it. But I know we can bag on James Cameron now for being a shitty screenwriter, considering how bad the writing is in Titanic and Avatar. But dude, the guy wrote The Terminator and The Abyss and Aliens and and this movie. So yeah, he's not a terrible screenwriter. He just became one eventually, unfortunately.
Or just has the ability to write bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Depending on his subject matter, I guess.
He's not good with the love story stuff. Stick to like some sci-fi and some action.
The macho shit.
But those screenplays are great. So it was always kind of amazing to me to see this movie and be like, whoa, like James Cameron like co-wrote this? This is great. Like, how come he doesn't do more stuff like this? So because they were married, that's how he manages to work on this with Bigelow. And still produces it. I mean, by 1994, when this movie is being shot and produced, I mean, they're obviously divorced by that time, but still working on a great film together. Given what I read in my research on this, it sounds like Bigelow contributed a lot of the grittier aspects of the screenplay. He has a lot of the sci-fi stuff and the love story, basically. I think he's fascinated by it because this is kind of a film noir, even though it's sci-fi.
Yeah.
Kind of a film noir, but I think what he really enjoyed about it was, here's a guy who's in love with this woman who doesn't love him, who's asking the woman who loves him, who he doesn't love, to help him win, this other girl back, or win this other woman back, and to save her. So it's a fascinating kind of love triangle, if you even want to call it that, because Juliette Lewis's character clearly does not want anything more to do with Ralph Fiennes and his character.
Yeah.
But he's so hung up on her still.
There's also seems like there's something holding her back. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but like he keeps making his way back to her, and the musician that she's now with in the film, and she's like, no, like I don't want anything to do with you, fuck off. But the way that she says it seems like if somebody's forcing her to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a couple of scenes where that kind of plays out, and I think part of her is doing it because she's trying to protect him.
Yeah, from getting hurt, or
because she
knowing too much.
She's in on the conspiracy.
Yeah,
that is at the heart of this film. Not intentionally, but just by knowing too much, because the guy that she's currently with, the record producer, is the main cause of pretty much what drives the plot of this film. And so I think that, yeah, you're right, there's some part of her that almost seems like she's trying to push him away for his own good. Even though I think she clearly does not love him anymore.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, she's trying to get him off of this.
Compared to what we see, like, when we're introduced to her in the memory that he's reliving, and they're, like, I think roller skating or something in the park. And it's like a great memory for him, and you can see that they have some kind of chemistry.
So yeah, they're obviously in love.
And then when you see, like, in that present time, it's completely, like, the polar opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Juliette Lewis is really good in this, too. She doesn't have quite as much screen time as I would have liked.
No, and she's third billed in the film.
Yeah.
But I guess at the time, she was one of the bigger stars. Trying to think, like, what she's coming off of at the time.
I don't know, but she would be going into From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn comes out a few months after this. She's only 21 or so. She's pretty young in the movie.
Yeah.
She doesn't read like that on screen, but I think she was about 21 when this movie was being made.